Hi, everybody. I'm here with Ron Placone and Steph Zamorano.
Hello.
Howdy.
Now, I've talked to you about how money influences broadcast news people, right? So we've showed you that MSNBC is not progressive, that they're owned by Comcast, let's remember, MSNBC fired Phil Donahue for being against the Iraq War. That's for fact. And fired Ed Schultz because he talked too loudly against the TPP. They also told Cenk Uygur to tone it down, lay off our friends in Washington. There's lots of stuff. So the reason I bring this up is because Joy-Ann Reid. Now, I've tried to avoid talking about Joy-Ann Reid for many reasons, right? It's like I don't want to focus on people anymore. I don't think she's a big enough person to talk about, like Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes, but I think she is now, actually. So, and it's just, I just wanted to show you what money does to people, right? So this is the kind of stuff she used to say about Hillary Clinton. Back in 2008, Joy-Ann Reid wrote this about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton wouldn't get out of the race. If you remember, that's this big thing that everybody forgets, that Hillary Clinton wouldn't get out of the race. In fact, she said she was staying in the race because, hey, everybody forgets that Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June in California. So I should stay in case Barack Obama gets assassinated. That's why she stayed in the race. And she wouldn't get out. And Joy-Ann Reid wrote this. She literally wrote this, right? It says, I have come to the conclusion Hillary Clinton can only be continuing in the race for one of three reasons. One, Hillary Clinton is insane. She has had a complete psychotic break due to the stresses of watching her presidential dream slip away and has lost touch with reality. This is Joy-Ann Reid speaking about Hillary Clinton. If anybody in this room said that about her now, we would be called misogynists. We'd be called sexists. We'd be called Bernie bros. Any other derisive term you could sling at us, they would. In her mind, she'll be president somehow, and her aides and her husband are afraid to confront her with the truth, lest she lose whatever is left of her mind. That's what Joy-Ann Reid said in 2008.
Which is crazy because what she just said could also serve as a book review in 2017.
Ron, that should be the book review for Hillary Clinton. That should be. She goes on. The number two reason she thinks Hillary Clinton won't get out of the race is Hillary Clinton knows that she won't get the nomination, so she is determined to make sure Barack Obama doesn't get the White House. This is what Joy-Ann Reid was saying about Hillary Clinton. Having failed to convince the villagers to make her their queen, this version has Hillary burning the Democratic village to the ground, not to save it, but just for the sheer joy of watching it burn. Or number three, Hillary Clinton is pushing for the vice presidency. Those are only three. This is what Joy-Ann Reid used to say about Hillary Clinton. She also said this, is Hillary becoming the candidate of white racists, or is she just the Al Sharpton of white people?
Wow.
This is what she used to say about Bernie Sanders. She said this about Bernie Sanders in 2010, revising my tweet from yesterday. The great clarion voice in the Democratic Party is Bernie Sanders. Not Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders. And he'll be ignored just like Howard Dean. So she's saying that the people who are progressives and want to change the party back to being a party of the people, to fix economic inequality, to be the party of working people, she said that's what the party needs. This is what she said. This is Joy-Ann Reid saying this. And then all of a sudden she got a job at MSNBC, which I don't know if you know, they tell you, they take you in the room and they have a meeting, which Cenk Uygur told us about. And here's what Cenk Uygur said.
This is the TV moment, or movie moment. I got pulled in, and they told me, hey, listen, we were just, or it was actually one specific person, the head of MSNBC. He said, I was just in Washington, and people in Washington tell me that they're concerned about your tone. I was like, whoa, what? despite all the things that I've said about the mainstream media, I still viewed that as kind of like theoretical. Like a real person, are they really going to say that? I was like, and I'm naively thinking, what does he mean? Did he talk to his friend Bob in Washington? Why would you say people in Washington if you meant, oh yeah, I was talking to my buddy down at the shop about you. It just happened to be that he was a person in Washington. You wouldn't frame it that way, right? But I'm still thinking that. And then he gives me the second part of the speech. Hey, listen, Cenk, outsiders are cool. And they wear, I think he might have said something like, they wear leather jackets, they ride bikes. I think I'm an outsider, I don't ride bike. But I have a terrible leather jacket. Anyway, he said, I'd love to be an outsider, outsiders are cool. But we're not. We're insiders. We are the establishment. And I just kind of sat back. I was like, wow, this is it. This is the speech.
So Cenk Uygur, so that's what happens. And then they offer him a bunch of money to shut up. Cenk Uygur didn't shut up, and he left MSNBC, and he walked away from millions of dollars so he could be a truth teller. So Joyanne Reid got that check. She's got the $1 million check. She got the talking to. Remember all the stuff she used to say about Bernie Sanders? He's the clarion voice in the Democratic Party, and he should be listened to. And Hillary Clinton was insane. And the candidate of white racists. Now she says this. Bernie and his followers are like that college friend who stays at your place for weeks, pays $0, eats your food, and trashes your aesthetic. What happened? I think everyone knows what happened. Joyanne Reid got that phone call that I've been waiting for. That phone call to sell out. And she got it, and she took it. And she's doing it 100%. And everything Joyanne Reid says is garbage. As Bill Hicks says, everything that comes out of her mouth is like a turd falling into a drink. That's what it is. Because everything she said is paid for. Everything she thinks and ever does on TV is paid for. She is directed. She's not that much different than a lot of them on TV, but she just happens to be the worst. She happens to be the one we have the most proof of.
And you know what? I have an alternative to her little analogy there. Bernie Sanders is like the roommate that moved into your house a little bit later, had a bunch of really cool outdoor furniture, so made it way more awesome than it used to be, and in return, you don't even give him a bedroom and tell him he has to pay more rent than everybody else. That's my alternative to that one.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders comes in to let you know there's a hurricane coming. You tell him to go away. That's what that is. There's more. She says, am I going to chip in on rent? Nah, that's your problem. Utilities, food, how dare you patronize me with your establishment corporatism? So do you see what she's doing, right? She's punching left. She's trying to completely smear not only Bernie Sanders, but progressives as being that, right? As being, that's what the right wing says about Democrats. That's what the right wing has been saying about Democrats for decades. That's what they say. Not that the Democrats are in bed with Wall Street. That's not what right wing says. That's what the right wing says about Democrats and progressives. And guess who's saying it now? Joyanne Reid. Why? Because she's being paid to say it by Comcast. Because she's the insider. She wants to be an insider. And it reveals her to be a craven person with absolutely no integrity. She doesn't have any integrity, and it doesn't take... I'm not a genius to see that. This isn't some big revelation. It's obvious she doesn't have any integrity. None. And she'll sell out not only progressives, not only Bernie Sanders, not only the Democrats, she'll sell out her entire country. For what? For some fame and money. Like a lot of people, just like Donald Trump. Like a lot of people do. And she smears progressives, just like the right wing. Why? Because she's being paid by Comcast to do it.
Yes, you know what, Jimmy, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, it's June 2017 she's going out of her way. It's June 2017 that she has to have this point of view and position about Bernie bros and Bernie, and that...
You are correct. This is from 2017. Go ahead.
Well, my point is perfectly like, she's doing this now. She has to diminish and dismiss anybody who supported Bernie Sanders. For what purpose, Joy? For
Listen,
what purpose?
Progressives, it's time to move on. But here's the weekly reminder that it's all your fault. But move on and unite. But by the way, it's all your fault. But don't forget, here's a Twitter thread on why it's all your fault. But move on.
And it's gotten so bad that everyone is noticing, right? And so, like, here's Adam Johnson from FAIR. He says, does Joyanne Reid have a Sanders bashing quota she has to reach every day? Because here she is comparing Sanders. This is how Steve Bannon sees the entire world. This is a article from BuzzFeed, and she tweets and says, it's one part Bernie Sanders and one part 11th century Catholic Crusades. That's who Steve Bannon is. One part Bernie Sanders, one part maniac, crazy, religious, theocratical terrorist. That's who Steve Bannon is. One part Bernie Sanders. That's what she does. So just so you know, and why does she say that stuff? Because she's being paid to and she has no integrity. And that's who MSNBC hires. They hire people with the least amount of integrity. Because if you have integrity, you walk away like... Is Keith Olbermann there? Is fucking Cenk Uygur there? Is Ed Schultz there? Is Phil Donahue there? No, they're not there. Why? Because they have integrity. And the people left there don't have a bunch of it. Here's what she said recently. This is true. This is her recently. She said, on the flip side, so she was asked this question. On the flip side, it has to be a bit heartening that some conservatives who used to be sort of MSNBC villains are now on your network trashing a Republican president. So if you notice, MSNBC used to be about lean forward, and then they started hiring a bunch of climate change deniers like George Will, Megyn Kelly, who has her favorite go-to experts are racists like Mark Furman. She says Santa Claus was white. And so they're hiring a lot of conservatives, and then they're bringing on a lot of Bush Republicans to trash Donald Trump. A bunch of people who, led us into an illegal war and ordered war crimes to cover it up. Those people, they're bringing on MSNBC, and she's cool with them. In fact, here's what she says. She says, one of the most amazing outcomes of the Trump administration is the number of neoconservatives that are now my friends and I am aligned with. I found myself agreeing on a panel with Bill Kristol. I agree more with Jennifer Rubin, David Frum, and Max Boot. Max Boot. More than I do with some people on the far left.
Ugh.
The far left, she means, Bernie Sanders supporters. Max Boot. So that's who she is. So I wanted to do this so everyone knows who. I mean, there's much, much more disgusting stuff she does. She's wrong about everything on purpose. Joyanne Reid knows better. She went to Harvard. She knows better. You saw the stuff she wrote in 2008. You saw the stuff she wrote in 2010 about Bernie Sanders. She knows who Howard Dean used to be. She knows who Bernie Sanders is. She knows who Hillary Clinton is. It's clear to her. She also has read Chomsky, I'm sure, because she went to Harvard, so she knows how the corporate news media works. And she's pretending she doesn't know any of that stuff. So she's such a bad liar. That's the thing. If you're going to do that, you have to be a good liar. She's such a bad liar that she's easily caught. Here's someone caught her on Twitter. So Joyanne Reid calls this woman dear. She likes to do that, to condescend, calls you dear. Then the woman calls her dear in response, and Joy Reid loses her shit over it. So here's Joyanne Reid saying, dear, wake me when you take issue with those calling anyone who won't worship with them neoliberals and attacking people, especially women of color. First, so if you see, she called that woman dear. So the woman responds, and the woman says, the entire media kisses Clinton's ass. Maybe your brainwashed hardcore viewers believe this idiot narrative, but most Americans don't, dear. So that's what she says right there. Most Americans don't, dear. Joyanne loses her shit. Oh, my God. I forgot I just did this to you, but I just saw it happen to me. So as a fucking sociopathic narcissist that I am, I'm going to lose my shit over it. And she does. She says, first, I'm sure I'm older than you, so spare the dear pumpkin. And she does. And she fucking does it twice. She does the thing she's hating. She tries to use a demeaning term while she's trying to admonish someone for using a demeaning term that she already used. And then she does it again. And pro tip, don't call me dear. We're not cool like that. And then she goes on, thanks, Eileen. I noted that too. She's thrown lazy deer like it's the 50s. And boo my way. I see her and note her sad existence. So that's who Joyanne Reid is. So that's that. I just want everybody to know you're going to keep seeing her because she's not going to stop doing the bidding of the establishment. She is not going to stop. So you're going to see her more. She'll probably get a daily show. She only has a weekend show now, but she's probably going to get a daily show on MSNBC. And so I just want that's who these people are. Whatever the highest bidder. What do you want me to say? I'll say it. I like Bernie. Here's some money. I don't like Bernie. Hillary Clinton's the candidate of white racist. Here's some money. She's great. I love her. Everybody's trying to shut her up because she's a woman. Hey everybody, we have 2 live Jimmy Dore shows in September. September 25th, we're in San Diego, and September 18th in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right there. There's a link right there.